Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. The countdown has begun to the counting day tomorrow, but hectic political activity is seen between Delhi and what's happening in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, why I'm saying this, I'm going to give you a few reasons and few instances. Now, the first thing, there is an application which has been filed in the Supreme Court, which is seeking appropriate direction from the union government for restoration of statehood of J&K in a time-bound manner. And according to this application, the time is within 2 months. Now, this is what has happened in Delhi. If you look at what has happened in Jammu and Kashmir, today, engineer Rashid, who is the head of the Awami Ittihad party and who's played a crucial role this time in elections, has held a press conference and he has urged all the India bloc parties, saying that the government formation should come later. First, we should restore the statehood. Now, there are a few tweets after engineer Rashid's press conference. The first tweet I'm going to talk about is the tweet of Congress General Secretary K.C. Venugopal. And he's saying that we are keeping vigilant on the dirty tricks department of BJP. They are trying to subvert the democracy. We know that they are trying to hijack the democracy, but we will not let that happen. Now, the second tweet, which I'm going to talk about, is the tweet by Omar Abdullah. He's saying that the man goes to Delhi for 24 hours. And obviously, this is in context to engineer Rashid. He's put out that shot of engineer Rashid's press conference, and then he writes his material. And he writes that the man goes to Delhi for 24 hours, comes back to play straight in the hands of the BJP. The BJP would like nothing more than to extend the central rule in J&K if they aren't in a position to form a government. So this is very, very clear that there's something happening between Delhi and Jammu and Kashmir. And let me add to this, according to whatever I have spoken to the people in Kashmir on the ground, the Ram Madhav is very, very active. He's meeting all the independent contestants, and I don't know what he's doing. I would not like to speculate on that officially, but there is a feeling that BJP at the center is trying to in some way trying to prevent the formation of the India Alliance government in Jammu and Kashmir, or rather preventing the Abdullahs to form the government in Jammu and Kashmir. So joining me now, I thought this was a very, very important issue, and just ahead of the counting, so the most appropriate person I could find was Professor Radha Kumar, who's the author, columnist, and she has been a former interlocutor to Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you so much, Radha, for coming on an occasion where it's very, very significant to talk to you about this development in Jammu and Kashmir just ahead of the counting days. So thank you so much once again for joining. And my first question to you is that the fact that Omar Abdullah has said that engineer Rashid was in Delhi for the last 2 or 3 days, he's come back to Jammu and Kashmir, and now he's playing in the hands of the BJP. Now, what would you like to say to this development and the fact that in the press conference he says that let's restore the statehood first and form the government later? Now, is this something which is just dropping out of the hat? Was this something which was expected out of engineer Rashid, or you find this as a very off-the-cuff statement?
I do find it a rather strange statement. I mean, after all, Rashid Saab's Awami Ittihad party contested the election. And generally, when you contest an election, you expect government formation after that election. So I am very puzzled by this statement. It makes no sense to me at all. Everyone is looking forward to an elected government in Jammu and Kashmir.
Right. So, but what is your feeling? The very fact that he's urging the political parties to restore the statehood. Now, if he had to take this call, then he would have better boycotted the election. I mean, why is he saying this in the press conference, and why is he giving an opportunity for others to talk about the fact that he's playing in the hands of the BJP? Anybody would come to this conclusion that apparently he was in Delhi. Apparently he might be under some pressure. This is very logical for people to think, and maybe under pressure he's trying to talk in this and he's trying to put up this narrative.
Well, as far as I understand it, he was in Delhi on the bail issue. He has another hearing coming up, and he was, I think, meeting his lawyers or some such thing. Having said that, let me say that, add actually, that our small group of petitioners against the 2019 actions of the Modi administration, we also wanted statehood first. But the court accepted the administration's argument that they had already laid out a roadmap, and they were going to first hold elections and so on and so forth. We also know that just a few days before the elections, the Modi administration got the president to issue new rules under the 2019 Reorganization Act, which take away most of the powers of an elected administration and give them to the lieutenant governor. So there's a whole slew of problematic and difficult issues in which one can certainly not only understand, but welcome the demand for the restoration of full statehood. But why you should refuse to form a government and say you'll only form a government when there is full statehood, I don't understand, because you have participated in the elections.
Absolutely.
If that was your stand, then you should have taken that stand earlier and not participated.
Exactly. And does it give rise to a lot of suspicions, rather, that what has gone wrong with engineer Rashid? Anyways, throughout the campaign, people were calling him a proxy of the BJP, and not one. There have been I don't even remember how many reports have called him a proxy of BJP. And is it not the same thing which he's trying to prove by talking in this manner?
Well, let me say, first of all, Kashmir is always rife with speculation. And so is the rest of India, actually. But Kashmir even more than the rest of India. And it's not surprising, given the troubled history that the former state has had to undergo. Having said that, I prefer not to speculate on people's motives unless I have very strong reason to believe A or B. And in this case, there is not really any great evidence. The timing is the main reason why people are asking this question. But, what he says, he may say, that does not mean that anyone is going to actually follow. Clearly, the other regional parties or the chief contestants, we know that the NC Congress has a definite edge. They are certainly not supporting, as you say, they are very loud in their criticism. The PDP too will not support such a demand. Maybe one or two parties in Jammu might, but I don't think that any of the chief parties other than the BJP are going to want to possibly rethink government formation. Even the BJP candidates have tried to fight on a plank of good administration and restoration of statehood. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that even they would wish to boycott government formation should they have an opportunity to be in the government, which frankly the chances of that are very, very slim. But, so in a way, this sounds like losers, losers asking for something.
In fact, I was coming to this point, what you just mentioned, that are these signs of desperation on the part of the BJP? Look at what the exit polls have said. And clearly, they are giving a mandate to the National Conference, and it looks like National Conference and the Congress will form the government. So, would you say that these are last signs of desperation and they are trying to clutch at whatever straws they can to ensure that, they form the government?
Well, we can't necessarily link Engineer Rashid's press conference and statements to the BJP because we don't have evidence of that. However, there's no doubt that the the Union Home Ministry.
But sorry to interrupt you, but you said that we cannot link them with his submissions cannot be linked with BJP. But there are several other non-state actors which are quite operational in Kashmir. So could this have happened at their behest as well? And instead of just pinpointing BJP, probably the blame could be with them as well?
No, I would only say that at this point, we are being very speculative. So that was my point, that we may speculate, but we must be clear that this is pure speculation.
Right.
The only sort of question mark thing is the timing.
No, of course, this is all speculation, and I agree that we do not have any evidence. And let me put this disclaimer on the show that this is purely on the basis of what people are talking, and enough hints are being given, but of course, there's no evidence. But the point is that whatever developments have happened in the last 12 hours, or I may say 48 hours, since the time Engineer Rashid is in Delhi, but does it give a whiff of something going wrong somewhere, and something which doesn't look very normal? Doesn't it look slightly outlandish, whatever is happening?
If you followed Rashid Saab's political career, he's always made rather surprising statements at different moments of time. When you say outlandish, many of his statements might have sounded outlandish in the past as well. However, the real question is, does this statement mean anything, right? The question is,
in the past when people said,
does it have support from the Home Ministry or from the intelligence agencies? Does it have support from the Lieutenant Governor? Does it have support from the BJP? These are the questions that we want to look at. Rationally speaking, it would seem that many in the BJP might say that, well, if we don't have a chance of forming a government, then prolonging Lieutenant Governor's rule is better for us. Right. Than have an elected administration of the Congress and NC and PDP and others, whoever ally with them. Rationally, that seems to be as plain as a very large nose on my face. So I don't think that we can contest that logic. Whether we can directly link what Rashid has said to that logic, I would say, hold your horses, wait a bit. Now, the other question that comes up in that same context.
Absolutely. No, there's a point. There's a point in what you're saying, but I'm going back to what Omar Abdullah has tweeted, and he's saying that the BJP would like nothing more than to extend the central rule in J&K if they aren't in a position to form a government. Now, is this a reason to worry for the India alliance? And it's very natural what Omar has written, that they would continue the central rule and probably the president rule or whatever they call it, and they would happily continue with it. So which means that the signs are very, very obvious that apparently the central government is trying to prevent the India alliance from forming the government in J&K.
I don't think that they can. Constitutionally, once you have had an election, government formation has to follow unless there is a serious crisis. So the question is, there is no serious crisis, right? At the moment, there is no serious crisis unless you have some major terrorist attacks or something like that in the next couple of days. You cannot prevent government formation. The head of the party with the largest number of votes will
No, but
go
people,
to the
no, but rather
lieutenant governor.
people are also talking about, this curious case of 5 MLAs who will be chosen and elected by the LG because he has the powers to do so, and that's how they'll play around with the numbers. What about this story? And I would really like to understand from you as to, is there a scope for any game being played by BJP, trying to subvert the numbers in some way or the other? Because KC Venugopal is hinting at a dirty tricks department, which is, playing its tricks. And they're quite vigilant on that. They're saying that we will not let this democracy be hijacked. Yes, Radha.
Okay, so I think we have seen dirty tricks in many areas and in many states.
Yes.
I don't need to quote the examples to you of Maharashtra or other similar states where elected governments have been forced to step down or have been ejected, more or less, sometimes by the governors. And therefore, no one can be surprised if there are attempts at dirty tricks in this instance too. But that 5 nominees, that will only make a difference if the results are quite close. If the results are not close, let's say now the exit polls are, well, their predictions are always absurd because the margins are so huge. So they are predicting between 35 to 45, let us say, and perhaps more for the Congress-NC alliance. They are predicting some 6 or 7 or 8 seats for the PDP. Just add those together, and you already have a majority. Even if you take only 35 and 6, you have a majority. Oh, no, you don't. So the question is the margins. Most people believe that the Congress NC between them will get anything between 40 to 45 seats. Then you add the PDP seats and the hopefully the CPM seat, and you have a majority. In which case, these 5 nominees make no difference at all. They cannot change. They cannot change the arithmetic. If, however, you don't have the NC and the Congress performing at the level that one expects, then these 5 could make a difference. But the chances of that seem very, very slim to me.
Right.
Again, all the news from the ground, as well as the exit polls, which, of course, we know are highly unreliable, do indicate that these 3 parties between them will have a majority.
So what is your sense? I mean,
I would expect the PDP to either join or support the NC.
No, I think Dr. Farooq Abdullah has already said that, even if they don't join, but we assume that they will be with us. So he's given a sort of an open offer to PDP, and I'm sure PDP would align with them. But the point is that what is your sense after seeing the exit poll results that do you see any hurdles in India Alliance forming the government, or you feel that whatever numbers have come out, they'll comfortably form the government in J&K?
I think we only have a day to wait for that. One should never, say with certainty until the actual results are out. So I can only say that I feel fairly confident that they will be in a position to form the government. Whether they will need the support of the PDP or an alliance with the PDP, I can't say. They could fall a little short and therefore require PDP support. I can also say with a certain degree of confidence that I believe that the PDP would, in that kind of situation, certainly support.
But Radha, sorry, there's another question, which people are talking about, and I would like to understand from you as well. That supposing the India Alliance forms a government, how stable that government will be, given the fact that there are certain dichotomies between National Conference and Congress as well. And what about the longevity of this alliance? What about the stability of this government, if at all there is an India Alliance government at the center?
Actually, I'm not very worried about stability. I think the real problem is going to be that they're going to have very few powers, and they're going to have to battle it out to get more powers. And in that battle, I'm sure they will be united. And not only will they be united, I'm pretty sure that the PDP and even some of the independents will support, because there is no one in Jammu and Kashmir who wants a municipal type of government. They do want, a proper chief minister's cabinet.
True. No, but how bad or how good will it be when you compare it with Delhi? Because we've already seen what's happened in Delhi with Arvind Kejriwal government, and now there are reports that BJP is wanting some TBR rules to be, I mean, the transactional business rules to be changed. They've already given more power to the LG, and I don't know how worse they will try and make it. So, what is your sense? Is it going to be worse than the Delhi model, or will it be slightly better? What are you sensing? Because the challenges are not over. Even if the India Alliance forms a government, the challenges begin from here on, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. The real challenges will begin then. So, transaction under business rules are the changes I referred to earlier. Those are the new rules which give not only power over security, over the police, to the lieutenant governor, but they also give power over appointments, over transfers of all administrative officers to the lieutenant governor. And they even say that cabinet ministers must send their agendas to the governor's office, that the governor's representative can sit in on cabinet meetings, also on budgets and financial. The governor has the last say. He can revoke decisions of the cabinet and so on. So these are terribly wide, all-encompassing powers that have been given to the lieutenant governor. And in that sense, Delhi did not, though Delhi, many of those powers were given to the lieutenant governor in Delhi, they were not all given to him. For example, on the question of appointments and transfers, the Supreme Court stepped in and said that the Delhi government would have to have powers of appointment and transfer, because otherwise, obviously, the administrative officers don't answer to the elected government or to the assembly. So this is a very seriously anti-democratic move. And the Supreme Court did make that point. Now, the other thing is what happens on the ground, right? The Supreme Court made the point. It was a victory for the AAP. Doubtless, the Jammu and Kashmir elected administration will use the Supreme Court's judgment on that issue. But what happens on the ground if you have a determined home ministry and a determined cabinet that wishes to undermine the state administration, then they can do it. They do it. We've seen that in the case of Delhi. And it's really very, very sad that the national capital should be reduced to such a shambles over a lieutenant governor not allowing an administration to function. You look at half the disasters we have seen in the last year or so in Delhi. A lot of it is to do with this, but there's no one in authority. Absolutely. So your drains are blocked and your floods come and people die, and who is accountable?
No, but if that probably could be the state of the governance, then ultimately the sufferers are going to be the people of Kashmir. Now, whether you have an India Alliance government, whether you have a BJP government which is up to its tricks in just extending the central rule, but the ultimate sufferers are going to be Kashmiris. So, which means that whichever government comes to power, there is no reason for the people of Kashmir to be happy. In fact, they will have to face more challenges in the days to come.
No, I don't think they'll.
Action. Yes.
Yeah. No, I don't think they'll face more challenges, because at the moment, for the last 5 years, what they have faced is arbitrary clampdowns, arbitrary arrests, arbitrary closures, arbitrary grants of licenses, arbitrary new land rules and reclamation of property, arbitrary new rules on tourism, all of which affect the economy deeply. And no one has been consulted, whether it's local industry or whether it's local media or whether it's panchayats for local administration. No one has been consulted by the Lieutenant Governor's administration. So you have a very serious problem of lack of consultation. Then his administration is populated mostly by people from outside of the state who don't speak the language, who don't know what have been the norms of trade or commerce or social engagement in this state, and who are not accessible, who don't wish to learn, they are not accessible. So very little could be worse than the current situation. Even elected municipal administration would be better than what we have here. But I also believe that, this will be a huge issue. I do believe the elected administration is going to ask, for example, for restoration of full statehood. If the central government starts to say no, they may well go to court. And this will be an elected administration going to court and reminding the Supreme Court that you ask them to restore statehood at the earliest.
Yes.
Well, now elections have happened. Where is the earliest?
Right.
So I think they're on a fairly strong wicket there. And more, remember, international attention is there. I am not sure the Modi administration would wish to be seen to be at loggerheads with an elected administration in Jammu and Kashmir.
Well, despite all these challenges, people are feeling that, there could be an effort from the BJP's end to manufacture a mandate. But I think that's going to be the biggest fault if BJP does that. But yes, of course, no evidence to say that. But there is a feeling just one day before the counting process. So we'll have to keep our fingers crossed. Let's see what are the numbers coming out tomorrow. But it was wonderful having you on the program, Radha. It was really wonderful. And I hope to have you tomorrow also for the lives, which we'll be conducting in the evening. So hope to see you then. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Stay ahead with our Cutting Edge News app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.